A couple in Ray County jailed after being accused of child rape. We'll tell you why police say the abuse could have been going on for years.
Plus, a Cleveland woman returns home after witnessing the deadly Las Vegas shooting.
Seeing a place that never sleeps shut down completely was wild. I mean, it really was.
How she and her family managed to stay safe.
It's a beautiful day outside today, but that may not be the case this weekend. We'll update you on the threat of severe weather that's coming up.
News Channel 9 at 5 starts right now.
Tropical Storm Nate now building strength in the Caribbean Sea. Good evening, I'm Calvin Sneed.
And I'm Stephanie Sanastasi. Although it's still a tropical storm now, things could be quite different when the storm makes landfall in the Gulf on Sunday. Chief Meteorologist David Glenn joins us now with the latest projections for Nate and how this could impact our weekend weather. David.
Yeah, the biggest impact locally. All right, as I was just saying, I think our biggest impact locally is going to be on Sunday when the rain moves in. Anyway, we'll take a look at the forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, David. We'll check with you in just a minute. With Tropical Storm Nate on the way, some folks say they're becoming numb to the threat of natural disaster.
I think we are desensitized because I haven't done anything. I don't even have a flashlight.
That plus why the Salvation Army worries this weekend's storms will present new difficulties for them. That's coming up in about 10 minutes.
A Ray County couple is in jail accused in a child rape case.
Detectives say they think the abuse has been going on for years. Hannah Lawrence tells us why a grand jury finally indicted the two.
The couple was here in court this morning. They were asking for lower bonds, but didn't get them. An alert that's impossible to ignore. Detective Rocky Potter says a child notified a school counselor and one other person about abuse that's been happening for years.
She disclosed to both of the adults. They both called the hotline, and that's how I got involved in it.
This week, a grand jury indicted Dustin Alt on several child rape charges. His wife, Michaela Alt, landed herself a bunk in this jail, too. Potter says she knew about the assaults that were happening and didn't do anything about them.
She'd been notified by the children more than 2 or 3 times, probably.
The Alts are just 2 of 5 child abuse cases Potter had to be in court for this morning. He says he's been working more of them since a child abuse hotline now allows people to leave anonymous tips.
Child abuse is nothing new. It's been going on since the 40s and 50s and before. It's just the way that people perceive it, the new laws, and more people coming forward with it.
Potter says that the Alts are due back in court mid-November. Reporting in Ray County, Hannah Lawrence, News Channel 9.
According to courthouse records, the Alts do not have violent criminal histories.
Chattanooga police released more details about an accident on I-24. It sent 2 people to the hospital this morning. CPD says Audrey Snyder was riding a motorcycle east on I-24 when she pulled into the lane of a semi-truck. That's when CPD says the bike crashed. Police say another car driven by Alexander Brown was unable to avoid the bike and hit the motorcyclist. The driver of the motorcycle, Stacy Hansen, and the passenger, Audrey Snyder, they were both taken to the hospital and are in critical condition.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is charging a deputy with the Murray County Sheriff's Department with stealing more than $10,000 worth of items from an evidence room. GBI spokeswoman Nellie Miles says an investigation led to the arrest of 49-year-old Deputy Donna Woody, the evidence custodian. Agents charged Woody with 6 counts of tampering with evidence, 1 count of violation of oath of office, and 1 count of theft by fiduciary.
A Bledsoe County woman dies after her mobile home burns to the ground. Sheriff Jimmy Norris tells us that woman is Bobby Holland. Just after midnight, the fire broke out on Old State Highway 28 in Pikeville. The Bledsoe County Sheriff's Office, TBI, and State Fire Marshal's Office were on scene for hours investigating the cause. The sheriff does not suspect foul play at this time. Chattanooga Police Chief David Roddy announces changes to the department's executive staff. Assistant Chief Eric Tucker was named CPD Deputy Chief. Assistant Chief Edwin McPherson will remain Assistant Chief of Investigation, and Assistant Chief Dana Vaughn will serve as the Assistant Chief of Department and Community Support Services. Captain Jason Irwin will serve as the Assistant Chief to the Special Operations Bureau, and Captain Glenn Scruggs will serve as the Assistant Chief of Neighborhood Policing. All 5 chiefs on the executive staff each
have at least 2 decades of experience with the CPD. The man accused of killing 1 person and hurting 6 others in the Antioch church shooting near Nashville appeared in court today. Emmanuel Sampson had a hearing in Davidson County earlier today. During that hearing, Judge Diane Turner set Sampson's preliminary hearing for October 23rd. He's being held in jail without bond. Police have not determined a motive in the shooting. Authorities say a note in Sampson's car referenced a retribution for a white supremacist attack on a black church in Charleston, South Carolina back in 2015.
The Varnell Police Department needs your help identifying 2 people who burglarized a church. Police say the suspects that you can see right here broke into the Harvest Baptist Church on Monday. The 2 stole thousands of dollars worth of equipment, including musical instruments and audio equipment. The burglars also seriously damaged the outside of the building.
They took a big block or some bricks and busted that door in. That's how they gained entry into the building, and so that's a glass door all the way down, so we had to have that completely repaired.
Police are asking anyone with information on the suspects to call 911.
As we said a minute ago, Tropical Storm Nate now building strength in the Caribbean Sea.
Now let's go back over again to Chief Meteorologist David Glenn. He's going to show us the latest projections for Nate and how this will impact our weekend weather. David.
Yeah, a few audio issues there, but we got that straightened out now. As far as our weekend forecast, squarely focused on Sunday when the heaviest rain can move in. We're going to have some scattered showers tomorrow, but I think the bigger impact as far as the heaviest rain, strongest wind gusts, that's on Sunday. And we also got to be mindful of severe weather threat because we're going to be the east side of that storm. And a couple inches of rain could occur, but it's a fast moving system. So by later Sunday night and early Monday, that's when the heavier rain begins to move on out of the area. So that's what we're going to be watching very carefully. Right now, it's still technically a tropical storm with sustained winds of around 60 miles an hour. But still, once it goes past Yucatan and up into the Gulf, overnight tonight through tomorrow, that's when it could become a hurricane. And again, look how fast it moves. As early as late tomorrow night through the pre-dawn hours of Sunday, somewhere between New Orleans, Biloxi, Gulfport, or around Mobile, where it could make a landfall. And it's beyond that time as we go through the day Sunday, all the rain moves in. But notice by Monday afternoon, it's a long way away. So again, our main focus is on Sunday, where the risk of heavier downpours and the strong wind gusts. More details on our local forecast and the rest of the weekend outlook in just a few minutes.
David, thank you for that. All 58 people killed in Sunday's mass shooting on the Las Vegas Strip have been identified. 29-year-old Sonny Melton of Paris, Tennessee was killed during that attack. His wife, Heather, said he was moving her out of the crowd when he was shot and killed. County leaders say more than $9 million has been raised through a GoFundMe account to help victims and their families.
A Cleveland woman saw people running for their lives after the shooting on the Vegas Strip.
Now she's back home, and News Channel 9's Brittany Martin met with her today. Brittany, where was she when that shooting happened?
Stephanie Calvin, Taylor Yoder went to Vegas with her dad to celebrate her birthday. She was at a nearby casino, and they had to walk through the crowd of people running away from gunfire to get to their hotel. Taylor Yoder was here, overlooking Las Vegas on one of the Strip's famous rides, the Big Shot. Just moments later, she gets a text
saying there were shooters on the Strip and to stay away.
Yoder says she, her dad, and stepmom were there together. They immediately tried to go back to their hotel.
Kind of nervous because we knew that was close to our end where we were staying.
When they tried to park their car in the garage, it had been blocked off. At that point, they'd heard there was more than one shooter and didn't know where to go.
We didn't know if we could get back. We didn't know, like I said, didn't know how many or where or if we were safe where we were.
Police now say it was a lone gunman, Stephen Paddock, who fired shots from his Mandalay Bay hotel room. But still not knowing, they were forced to walk to their hotel through crowds of panicked people, much like this.
A lot of chaos because people were running everywhere. They were all kind of coming from the same direction. They were sprinting though. It wasn't a jog. They were sprinting.
She says she could tell whatever happened had been bad, but didn't know how bad until they turned on the news, hearing that 58 people were killed and more than 500 were injured.
It's unbelievable. Like, we had no idea it was that extreme.
Yoder says the fun place she'd flown to spend her milestone 21st birthday had suddenly become dark and quiet.
Seeing a place that never sleeps shut down completely was wild. I mean, it really was.
Yoder says she and her stepmom actually talked about getting tickets to the Route 91 festival where the gunman fired into the crowd. She says she's thankful they were several blocks away and that her family is okay. Stephanie.
Brittany, thank you. Today, the Clark County, Nevada sheriff says a note left behind by the gunman had a series of numbers on it. Right now, they're still working to determine what those numbers mean.
Becoming desensitized to severe storms.
Coming up, see why people in our area are becoming accustomed to the effects of tropical storms.
And of course, it's been a busy hurricane season already. And of course, Nate on the verge of becoming yet another hurricane. What this means for us as far as the timing of arrival of rain and how strong the winds can be locally. All about Nate and our weekend forecast after the break. View brought to you by CHL Memorial. Quite nice this afternoon compared to yesterday. More clouds moving in, and that's the theme of the upcoming weekend, where more cloud cover eventually moves in, and then we have to deal with what's happening with Nate. And again, I know it's a long way away over the Caribbean Sea, but it's going to be such a fast mover that by as early as late tomorrow night, it's already moving ashore. So our main focus is on Sunday, when the heavier rain and strongest wind gusts could occur, even a chance for severe storms. Again, we're on that east side of the storm, and I'll show you this in the map. So we got to be mindful that a few storms could reach severe levels. You have to be mindful of a few isolated tornadoes. Certainly hope not. But that's something we got to watch through the day Sunday with the approach of what's left of that circulation. You can see the system right now is just far to the south, right off the Yucatan Peninsula. So it's gathering strength. It's moving at the pace and at the strength we expected it to. And it's teetering on hurricane strength. And I think by the time it gets into the Gulf, that's when it will reach that strength level. Already hurricane warnings are out from New Orleans, the Gulfport, Biloxi, Mobile, all the way to around Pensacola. Hurricane watches farther east of there, but it's right in this area where the storm can make landfall. Now, it could be in the exact same location, nowhere near the size, but the same way Katrina moved in. Katrina moved over the islands here, the Chandeleur Islands in New Orleans, and then moved ashore over South Mississippi and South Alabama. So a similar path in nature, but again, a far different storm. But nevertheless, it still could be a Category 1 or Category 2 upon landfall. So the storm surge threat and the wind gust threat is also there along the coastline. 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds now moving north-northwest at 21. Fairly fast pace. And notice the narrow swath of the forecast track here, how the computer models are so consistent with the exact location where it can make landfall. So again, it could make this landfall from Louisiana to around the extreme western part of the Florida Panhandle very late tomorrow night through early Sunday morning. And this shows the wind field of tropical storm force and hurricane force winds. Once it moves inland, the hurricane force winds go away. In fact, the sustained tropical storm force winds go away well south of us. What we'll have to deal with are tropical storm gusts, say 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts right around, say, Sunday afternoon and evening as the core of that moves on by. Notice by Monday early afternoon, it's far to the north and east and such a fast mover as well that it won't linger for too long, limiting the amount of time that we have the rain around. Now, tomorrow morning, we may see a few showers early in the day, but we're going to advance farther in time where we watch the system move inland. So notice again, it's through Sunday afternoon and evening where the core of the heavier rain starts to move on in. A lot of that right over North Alabama that slides over us later Sunday afternoon and into Sunday night. As far as the wind speeds, these are the wind gusts. And across the region, those gusts are going to start going up a bit. This is by Saturday afternoon, not too much, 15 to 20 locally. But as we approach Sunday, you'll notice that wind field increasing to the south. So by Sunday morning, got a few wind gusts above 20. But by Sunday afternoon, those gusts locally start going above 30 to the south, 30 and even 40 miles an hour. So again, it'll be Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. We're going to have those stronger gusts. Then the gusts go away by early Monday. As far as how much rainfall, this has been changing a bit with the latest computer models, but again, between 1 to 3 inches on average, a few spots a little bit higher. We'll be watching that, of course, through the course of the weekend. The core of that heavy rain on Sunday. But tomorrow, more cloud cover, showers, thunder showers at times, but definitely not all day. High temperatures right around 80. The cloud cover sort of limiting the heat there. So again, rainy and breezy Sunday on into Monday. High temperatures are going to stay in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. Again, the best chance of rain coming in here on Sunday.
So definitely something to be aware this weekend.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things. We talked about this yesterday. A lot of events happening this weekend.
A lot of events on Saturday have an umbrella because of this is scattered nature showers. I don't see it being all day. Sunday with events, those can be more in jeopardy. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, David.
Yeah.
Let's check out our exclusive News Channel 9 traffic tracker. I tell you what, folks, I-75, Highway 153, Highway 27, I-24 eastbound on the west end of Chattanooga, and of course the I-24 going across the ridge cut. Still, everything moving kind of slow right now. Now, some places moving pretty smoothly.
Yep, we're outside right now. Your TDOT SmartWay camera, 24 East at Market Street. A little slowdown right there, but it looks like people are just headed home from work right now. So far, so good in that area.
Unfazed by unfortunate weather.
Coming up, see how Chattanoogans are becoming immune to the call for assistance.
Nate is the third named storm in less than 2 months, causing devastation and destruction in its path.
The never-ending storms have some people in our area feeling like they don't need to prepare for the worst.
That's right. News Channel 9's Alex George is here to tell us why emergency crews say storm prep fatigue is a problem, especially this weekend. Alex.
Calvin, Stephanie, Signal Mountain residents know all too well the damage from strong storms, but some say preparing for a tropical storm doesn't take much prep. That type of thinking is what has the Salvation Army worried. Workers are already stationed in Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, and Las Vegas, leaving a slim crew to respond to any potential damage here in Chattanooga this weekend. However, some residents who made it through Irma say they don't feel like they really need to prep at all.
We're not prepared at all. Because I think it's just a tropical storms.
You know, America itself is fatigued with all these storms. If Nate were the first hurricane coming on shore, I'm sure we would hear a lot more about it.
The Salvation Army says that they are preparing for this storm and packing their mobile kitchen units to be ready and dispatched this weekend. Stephanie?
Alex, thank you. Right now, Tropical Storm Nate is set to make landfall here in Chattanooga early Sunday. You can depend on us for weather coverage all weekend long.
Keeping an eye on the cost of immigration.
After the break, hear how groups on both sides of the issue are sounding off. One of Congress's top priorities this year, immigration reform. Advocacy groups say most immigrants are a vital part of our society that contributes greatly.
Another group says it's now got a total of just how many undocumented immigrants cost taxpayers. Our chief political correspondent Scott Thuman has both sides of the breakdown.
We need the people in the White House to hear us.
In the ongoing debate over who should be allowed to stay in the United States and who should be deported, one group says it's calculated the costs on illegal immigration.
It's really a shocking number.
Matt O'Brien crunched the figures for the Federation for American Immigration Reform. He claims each illegal immigrant here, or someone here as a direct result, like a U.S.-born child of that person, costs the government $8,075 a year.
We're spending money on foreigners who don't have any right to be in the United States, and there's about $116 billion in net expenses that we are bearing. What could you do with that? You could probably fund nationalized health care for quite a significant amount of time.
The costs are calculated to include everything from use of public schools to water utilities to the justice system, and what those immigrants do pay in taxes, roughly $19 billion a year.
People pay their taxes and back taxes, and they don't get actually any returns because they're not considered citizens.
We caught up with Cynthia Toyko, who came here illegally from Peru, at a recent rally outside the White House.
So you would argue you're not a drain on society at all?
No, I've never gotten any help. I've earned 3 scholarships out of Strong Married Here. None of them were given to me because they said that I wasn't a citizen.
She and others say they'd contribute much more if allowed to come out of the dark and become more traditional taxpayers. O'Brien contends either way, legal or not, added people, added strain.
Allowing these people to work, whether it be under the table or through fraud, combined with all of the benefits that they can collect when they're here, is a huge draw. And if we don't shut that off, then we're going to wind up going bankrupt.
In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
And just this week, a bill to reform the immigration detention system was introduced in the House of Representatives. The Dignity for Detained Immigrants Act is co-sponsored by more than 36 members of Congress. An emotional tribute to the victims of the deadly shooting in Las Vegas.
After the break, we'll show you how one country music superstar honored those that lost their lives.
Country singer delivered an emotional tribute to the victims of the Las Vegas mass shooting.
Eric Church headlined the first night of the Route 91 Harvest Festival Friday night before the Sunday shooting that left 59 people dead and more than 500 people injured.
Church fought back tears several times as he talked about the tragedy. He said that he didn't want to play at the Grand Ole Opry, but then he watched an interview with a widow of one of his fans saying that they had tickets for his performance. Church debuted a new song at the Grand Ole Opry that he wrote about the shooting and called it "Why Not Me?"
Why not?
We thank you for letting News Channel 9 be your choice for news.
News Channel 9 at 5:30 starts next.
News Channel 9 at 5:30 starts right now.
Next on News Channel 9, an attempt to bring Walker County out of debt.
We've got to dig through this and overcome these financial hurdles.
Coming up, what the county commissioner says is a priority and where he had to make cuts. Plus, white supremacist groups connected to a deadly protest in Charlottesville, Virginia, are planning to come to Tennessee. Why they say the July 16th terror attack in Chattanooga pushed them to come to the volunteer state.
As Tropical Storm Nate barrels toward the U.S. mainland, it leaves a path of destruction in Central America. This is video from Costa Rica.
Nate has caused 12 mudslides and flooded 32 communities where 7 people have lost their lives. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Stephanie Sanastasi.
And I'm Calvin Sneed. Our Storm Track 9 team is tracking Nate right now and how it could impact our weekend.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist David Glenn joins us now and tells us the impacts it'll have in our area. David.
Yeah, I think the main focus for us is going to be on Sunday. It's a fast-moving system, and right now moving toward the northwest at 21, sustained winds at 60. So later tonight, as it passes Yucatan into the southern Gulf, it could be raised to hurricane strength. And again, it's a very narrow forecast swath. You know, when you look at these so often, the swath or the cone of uncertainty is very wide. This is tightly packed because it's moving right around an area of high pressure to the east and an area of low pressure to the west. So the alleyway is very narrow. But either way, as early as late tomorrow night through early Sunday, could be making the landfall anywhere between, say, New Orleans to around Pensacola, Mobile Bay. Sustained winds around 80 miles an hour. There's a chance it might even reach Category 2 strength. So still a powerful punch near the coastline. Coastal flooding, strong storm surge, and heavy rain. So for us, as we go through the day Sunday, what's left starts to move our way. So the greatest chance for us of having heavy downpours of rain and stronger, say, tropical storm wind gust would be during the day Sunday through Sunday evening. Notice by late Monday, it's a long way away. So not something that'll last long, but definitely could impact the second half of the weekend. More on our local details, what'll happen here, the rest of the weekend, and 7-day forecasts in a few minutes.
David, thank you. More tough decisions being made in Walker County.
The 2018 budget just released by the Walker County Commissioner. He spoke with News Channel 9's Kayla Strayer about countywide cuts and property tax increases. Kayla, why is all this happening?
Well, Commissioner Shannon Whitfield says it's to get rid of the debt that is, quote, crippling the county's ability to function. He says while the whole county will feel the sting, in the long run, the new budget will help with much needed checks and balances.
That it's going to be painful for everybody.
That's how Walker County Commissioner Shannon Whitfield describes the 2018 budget he just released. He says the county was $70 million in debt when he took office in January.
We've got some heartburn right now. We've got some department heads and elected officials that are not real happy with me because I had to make some tough choices and take some steps of prioritizing the direction and the future that we're going.
When property owners get their bills next week, they will see property taxes go up, along with a hospital fee to pay a debt owed to Erlanger Health System.
Every department, for the most part, has taken a haircut in this budget process. We were not going to ask the citizens to pay more in taxes if we were not willing to make the internal cuts.
Part of those internal cuts include losing 26 county jobs this year, while Whitfield has a steady salary set by the state at $117,000 this year. He says more job cuts could be coming. Have you heard from those people?
No, I haven't. No. I think many of those people understand the position we're in.
Along with these cuts, there will be a purchase order policy. That requires anyone wanting to spend more than $15,000 of the county's money to have a public hearing. Who was checking up on this stuff before?
That's the problem. That's how we ended up $70 million in debt. These procedures and processes were not put in place.
There was about $2 million that county leaders requested for their departments that this budget won't pay for. This includes money for 10 new patrol cars for the sheriff's office. Some of their cars have around 200,000 miles on them.
That was a very tough decision that I had to make, and it was something I took very, very seriously because I know that department needs those new patrol cars. It's a vital function of our county government.
The Walker County Sheriff didn't want to talk on camera, but says he is looking forward to meeting with the commissioner again in January about the things that his department needs. Calvin.
Thanks, Kayla. Georgia state law says a public hearing has to take place 7 days before budgets are implemented. Now, this has not happened in Walker County yet. Whitfield says his office is looking into the technicality and will make changes if needed.
After the state of Tennessee got involved with the overcrowded Ray County Jail, the Sheriff's Department says they are seeing improvements. This is video from June when we went to the jail to see that overcrowding. At the time, there were almost 140 people over capacity. They only have capacity of 87. The state told the sheriff to fix the problem. That required some inmates to move to different counties to get the count down. Detective Rocky Potter says keeping inmates in other county jails comes with a fee.
It is rather expensive, but we have a person that monitors, transports, is in charge of transporting from one jail back to here for court, back from our jail back to where they're being housed.
Potter says their work to keep the numbers at the jail down has kept the State Department pleased for now.
After the Georgia Bureau of Investigation issued an endangered child alert, authorities arrest the man accused of kidnapping his estranged wife and their 2 kids. Douglas Turner is now in the Walker County Jail. The Lafayette Police Department says an officer found him, Jennifer Turner, and the 2 children at a motel in Lafayette. Sheriff Steve Wilson says Jennifer Turner and the children appear to be okay.
I'm sure for the 9-year-old and the mother, it had to be a very traumatic experience if it unfolded the way we believe it unfolded.
The sheriff says they also booked Turner on an outstanding warrant of criminal trespassing.
After the mass shooting in Las Vegas, other cities that the shooter staked out are increasing their securities for upcoming events. Security preparations are underway ahead of this weekend's Chicago Marathon. Some reports indicate that Stephen Paddock scouted out locations in Chicago as another possible attack site. The guest registry at Chicago's Blackstone Hotel had a reservation for a person named Stephen Paddock during the Lollapalooza Music Festival this past August. That person never checked in. Right now, it's not clear if it was the same Stephen Paddock, but Chicago's chief of police isn't going to take that risk.
Putting a significantly larger number of undercover officers. They're going to be intermingled with the crowd. They're going to be around the runners. They're going to be at the finish line. They're going to be at the start line.
The city of Chicago is also making security preparations for postseason baseball games at Wrigley Field on Monday and Tuesday.
2 thieves steal from a small hometown church in Varnell, Georgia.
At 6, we'll tell you how they tried to get rid of the evidence but failed. Plus, a grand jury indicts a Ray County couple in a child rape case. I'm Hannah Lawrence. Coming up, we'll tell you why the detectives say the assaults probably went on for years.
Those stories and more coming up on News Channel 9 at 6.
A White Lives Matter rally claims that refugee resettlement is a reason for terror attacks.
Coming up, why white nationalists chose Tennessee as the location for their next rally.
And of course, next we'll talk about Nate, where it's going to be moving, how it's going to impact our weekend weather. But if you have plans to go to a high school football game tonight, well, the weather looks great. A bit warm for October, but we'll take it. 78 at kickoff, low 70s, upper 60s by the end of the game. More on the forecast right after the break. Our Storm Cam 9 view, and it's a beautiful one from Rock City Gardens atop Lookout Mountain. You can see a steady breeze and looking back down over Flintstone and Chattanooga Valley there. Some clouds moving in, and we're going to see more cloud cover and less sunshine as we go through the weekend. And of course, on Sunday, that's the day we really got to watch for the effects of Nate. It's a fast-moving system, so especially tomorrow, some showers could occur, but the heavier rain will be during the day Sunday and especially Sunday night. Could have some wind gusts around, say, 15, 25, gusts up to around 30, reaching near tropical storm force. And of course, we'll have to be mindful that some storms could reach severe levels. Hopefully not, but it's something we'll have to watch on Sunday with the approach to that circulation as it moves through North Alabama. I think the heaviest rain and the strongest wind gusts, they're added here as we go through late day on Monday. Right now, high pressure barely holding on. It's going to move away. We have a front approaching off to the north and west, and it'll pretty much stay stationary just off to our west. So the main focus is down to the south with what's happening with Nate, which is still a tropical storm, but gradually strengthening. In fact, it could become a hurricane later tonight once it passes the Yucatan and on into the Gulf of Mexico. So already hurricane warnings are up from the Louisiana coast all the way to around Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach. This whole area here could have where the landfall takes place. But either way, even with the landfall back to the west, the east side is going to cause a lot of storm surge all up and down the coast, including the Florida Panhandle and back through southern portions of Alabama and also coastal Mississippi as well. Sustained winds are at 60, and it's moving rapidly to the northwest at around 21. Area low pressure to the west is going to pick it up and move it off to the north and northwest very quickly. In fact, it'll probably be late tomorrow night and early Sunday morning that it makes a landfall, and it could be somewhere in that range where the hurricane warnings are in effect, and it could still be a Category 1, maybe even a borderline Category 2 hurricane. So still quite a punch to the coastline there with storm surge, heavy downpours of rain, upwards of 6 to 10 inches in some spots. This shows you the hurricane force field will be very small, tropical storm force field around it a little bit larger, but as it moves inland, a rapid decrease in intensity down below tropical storm strength. And by the time it moves over us, more than likely is a tropical depression. But again, the main time frame for us for it to pass over will be sometime Sunday afternoon and evening. So as we go through the day Sunday, all the rain and the strong wind gusts begin building off to the north and northeast our way. Model shows again as we go through the night tonight, clouds move in, maybe a slight chance for a shower early tomorrow, and even a few scattered showers afternoon. But notice again, this is not all day tomorrow. If you have outdoor plans, just be aware of a passing shower. The better chance starts to arrive on Sunday as Nate moves ashore and starts moving across Alabama. So as we go through the day Sunday, early clouds, then showers start moving in by midday. Heavier rain starts moving in towards later Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, along with the stronger wind gusts as the center of that low pressure moves to the north and northeast rather rapidly. And if you look at the wind gusts, they'll start picking up as well. For us locally through Saturday, not too strong. This takes us through late Saturday afternoon, 15 to 20, pretty average for an approaching front and approaching system with a southerly wind. Sunday morning early, we got some wind gusts going above 20, and then by the middle part of the afternoon, as the circulation approaches, then we start having wind gusts above 30, near Birmingham around 40. So the wind speeds will be decreasing a bit, but it gives you an idea that as we go through Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, we could have wind gusts exceeding 30 up to around 35, but it's going to be those strong wind gusts and heavy rain being the main impacts late Sunday and on into early Monday. Here's a closer look at our wind gusts locally. That was across the region. Let me advance this farther as we go towards Sunday. This takes us through midday Saturday, not too strong. This goes into early Sunday, not too strong yet, but as we go toward later Sunday afternoon, notice locally towards Fort Payne around 30, and that wind field will be expanding with time as we go through late Sunday. Rainfall amounts, I think on average 1 to 3. It'll be a fast-moving system. It's not staying too long over one spot. But again, mainly Sunday night when the heaviest rain could occur. Until then, not too bad. A few isolated showers tomorrow, highs near 80, but the better rain chance will be on Sunday. Then it moves out on Monday. So it doesn't last too long. In fact, it'll move inland rather quickly. The rest of the week still looks very warm with decreasing shower chances Tuesday through midweek. We'll be here all weekend long, keeping you updated. Be sure to check out NewsChannel9.com and the Storm Track 9 blog with more details on the local impacts of the storm.
Yeah, a busy weekend. So with that rain, when it comes, is there any chances of flooding that we might see?
Flash flooding.
Okay.
It's not going to be something that lasts, for days on end like we had with Harvey over Texas. But flash flooding indeed, because if you get too much rain in too short a time, some of those flood-prone areas could have flash flooding. Yeah. So we'll watch that threat. Also, a lot of leaves being blown off the trees, clogging the storm drains. Okay. With the rain, that'll be some ponding on roadways.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our exclusive News Channel 9 traffic tracker right now. Still the same traffic problems we had half an hour ago. West of Chattanooga, also over the Ridge Cut, and up along Highway 153 right now.
Let's take a look outside at your TDOT SmartWay camera. This is 24 East at Browns Ferry Road. A lot of people just heading home from work, getting ready for the weekend, but so far, so good in that area. A new construction project in Ottawa begins in just 30 minutes. The roundabout construction will happen between Ottawa-Georgetown Road and Mountain View Road. This means the east side of Ottawa-Georgetown will be closed to through traffic. Detour signs will be posted. Drivers should go slow through the construction zone and give themselves some extra travel time. The road should reopen in about 10 days.
White nationalist groups plan to rally in Tennessee.
Next on News Channel 9, how participants say refugee resettlement fuels terror attacks like July 16th deadly shootings in Chattanooga, and how the group plans to take action.
Violent, deadly protests in Charlottesville, Virginia are coming to Tennessee.
The White Lives Matter rally is scheduled to take place October 28th in Shelbyville, Tennessee. It's about 100 miles west of Chattanooga.
Now, the group says it's concerned about an escalation of terrorist attacks all across the world, specifically mentioning the July 16th attack in Chattanooga.
Erica Lathan from our affiliate station in Nashville has more.
At the coffee break, the coffee's hot and the food is homemade.
When people come in the door, they greet each other, they know each other, it's very personal.
Business owner Darty Fannin is shocked to learn Shelbyville is where white nationalists linked to a violent protest in Charlottesville, Virginia, are planning their next rally.
I'm concerned about it. I don't like the idea because I don't want there to be violence and trouble.
According to the Occidental Dissonant website, the League of the South met here back in 2013 and is returning to protest the Antioch church shooting and refugee resettlement programs in Tennessee.
Well, I was initially kind of shocked when I saw that.
The newspaper headline is shocking to Alan Pittner of the Chamber of Commerce.
I'm not going to speculate on why they chose this community. It could be a logistics thing or something. But again, they are in no way reflective of anything about our community.
No one's sure where the rally will be held, but the October 28th date is concerning.
It's actually really scary, especially since we're having a festival called the Boone Brew on the same day. So we're kind of a little scared about it.
Folks here say the White Lives Matter rally and message have little to do with their community.
This group is, they're certainly entitled to free speech, but it does not reflect Shelbyville and Bedford County at all.
I'm all about freedom of speech. I think it's great that people have opinions, and I know mine's different than other people's too, which is fine, but not to the point where it involves violence.
And that story from Erica Lathan. Now, the group's website said they wanted the rally to take place in a red county in a red state that has a Republican governor.
We'll have the latest on this developing story. You can find that at newschannel9.com.
The so-called death tax is creating an unfair balance in tax responsibility.
Coming up, the future of this under tax reforms. Trump and congressional Republicans propose repealing the so-called death tax in their newly unveiled tax plan.
But Democrats say the plan is just a giveaway for the rich. Our national correspondent Michelle Macaluso tells us more.
Etched in stone, never sell the land. And that's his message to me and my daughter and the generations to follow.
Sixth-generation farmer Martha Ann Clark struggled to pay the federal government about $5 million in taxes after she inherited the 540-acre family farm when her father passed away about 10 years ago.
The good news was we were able to hold on to the land. The bad news was that, it would have been nice to also have inherited a little bit of cash to help run the place.
President Trump and Republicans want to eliminate the estate tax that they say will help people like Martha Ann.
To protect millions of small businesses and the American farmer, we are finally ending the crushing, the horrible, the unfair estate tax.
Estates worth more than $5.5 million for individuals and nearly $11 million for couples are taxed at 40%. According to the Tax Policy Center, about 80 small businesses and small farm estates will pay an estimated $30 million in the estate tax in 2017. The richest 0.2% of American estates pay the tax today.
They're getting a raw deal. Yeah. They really need to break. They really do.
And in some cases, American farm families who cannot pay the estate tax may have to sell their farm or part of their land. Regardless of its impact on the farm community, Democrats call their repeal a giveaway to the rich.
Then he should this afternoon denounce repeal of the estate tax, which goes exclusively to the rich when you repeal it.
But Martha Ann believes farmers and ranchers are different.
The farmers across the country are not in the rich category.
Martha Ann is hoping to pass farming onto the next generation and is already making plans to alleviate the tax burden. In Howard County, Maryland, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
And right now, there is no timeline for passing a tax reform package.
Tonight, new information available on the loss of jobs after Hurricanes Harvey and Irma.
Coming up, where the trends point to in the future. The federal government says the U.S. lost 33,000 jobs in September. That's the first monthly employment decline in 7 years.
And it's not what economists were predicting. They were expecting an increase of about 90,000 jobs last month. Analysts blame the drop on the economy, taking a hit from hurricanes Harvey and Irma.
That's all the time we have for News Channel 9 at 5:30.
News Channel 9 at 6 starts next.